Let's go. Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome. It's good to be with you on a Monday evening. Coming to you live 7 p.m. All about you tonight inside of what we get to share. And guys, if you're in this conversation with me, you are the elite, man. You are the few, you're the proud. You are the ones that are going to crush it this year when it comes to creating freedom, wealth, and legacy in your trucking company. So let me just clear up some technical difficulties, make sure everybody's with me on the live stream on YouTube. Give me 1 second, guys. Make sure this is populating correctly on the channel. All right, awesome. Let's go. Guys, I just want to report, man, I was in Jamaica this last week. Last week I was in Jamaica. I was there for more than a week, attending some family business. I got to honor the life of my uncle, one of my favorite uncles who passed away in December. We got to go down and honor him and spend some time there with family creating legacy. And it was very powerful time spent in the island. My family is from Jamaica, if you didn't know. And I was born here. My dad, he's born in Jamaica. And we have a very proud family, man, a very talented and blessed family. And I'm just proud to be a part of that family. You Bulgians, man, just if you're watching, wherever you are, I love you. And I really appreciate you for being my family and the people that I get to be around. Not too many people have that in life, and I realize that I have a family that is charmed, that's blessed, great people. And, I just want to express the gratitude that I have for each and every one of you who were there with me, there with family, there with in spirit and in physicality, body and spirit. And just know that you're a big part of what I get to do, man, in life. Guys, if you're listening inside of wherever you are, a trucking company, business owner, wherever you are, this is what it's all about. It's about creating legacy. And that's why you want to be on the call here on live streams with me on Mondays, because this is the access that we get. It's a direct access for creating legacy. You're not just building this company for you. The thing about entrepreneurship that I love, and this is why I do what I do, is because we get to create something that goes beyond our existence. It does a whole lot in terms of impact if we do it right. If we do it right, there's an impact that you get to have that doesn't just stop here today where you are in life. It extends beyond you. It extends beyond your existence. And that is a powerful place to be. And I really call it creation. You may call it something else, but I look at it in terms of what I get to create for life and what I get to create for my children and my children's children. And if you're here in this conversation, that's what you get to do as well. Specifically, when we talk about things like this, we've been in a conversation about scaling beyond 7 figures in your trucking company. And what does it look like for you to do that in a way where you solidify your legacy as a business owner, as an entrepreneur? I don't know how many of you go about your days and wonder, if what you're doing is worth it all. Some of you guys, a lot of you guys go through that, man. You wonder, man, what do we do today? Is it worth it? Because I keep doing the same thing every single day. Am I gaining traction? Is this actually working out for me? If you are here inside of the conversation with me tonight and then Monday night next week and the other nights that we get together on these conversations, then there is a degree of certainty that you will have, especially if you're part of the Truck Profit Academy too, because we are keeping a library of information like this, and then we are creating, the workshops and the mastermind and everything else that we get to create for you to have that legacy in what you do, right? So if you're part of this conversation, there is a great degree of certainty that you can rest assured in that you'll be able to scale your business, not only scale your business, but create the legacy, for your company. All right. I do want to share that with you tonight. It's one of the reasons I get on a Monday night is because the people who get on a Monday night call with me live, I see you as my people. You are about your business. You want to create life on a whole new level, and you really get the impact of you taking the actions that you take every day and the impact of what type of legacy you get to create. So if you're somebody who's going out here every single day and wondering whether or not what you're doing is working in your favor, then stop wondering, man, and start winning. And stop wondering and start winning. When I say that, and hey, I see you on live with me, you freedom. I know who you are. Good to see you. Good to be with you. So there is a certainty, is what I want to say, is that you get to have when you're hearing this conversation. When you are here with me in these conversations, you know that you can achieve that legacy. You can achieve that freedom. You can achieve those outcomes that you really want to achieve. Tonight we're going to go into some things. Let's get started really quickly with that. So here we go. Here we go. If you didn't know, now you know. This is me, Cheston Bulgin with Buy the Books Consulting. I'm a CFO, outsourced CFO, tax strategist, also known as your accounting superhero. You can reach us at 888-4BTB now. That's 888-428-2669. You can also reach us on the web at youraccountingsuperhero.com. You can reach me directly via email at cbulgin@youraccountingsuperhero.com. Definitely follow me on Instagram, guys. I'll create some snippets. I'll create some content, maybe some shorts that could be, that little 30-second impact that you needed for the day. That could be the thing, that you needed to catapult yourself and your business to that next level. That one thing, that one nugget could be the difference maker. And one of the reasons you want to be on here is that, but definitely follow on Instagram to be enlivened around that and to get those essential nuggets that could have you change and transform the trajectory of your trucking company, of your business. Okay. That's where you want to do that on Instagram so that you can maybe get to that next level. All right. And so definitely follow me there at Your Accounting Superhero. Excuse me. If you didn't know, we specialize in, the accounting and the tax strategy. The really peace, ease, and clarity is what we deliver. We help you with the software to help you run your business with organization, tax strategy, tax planning, keep your heart on money in your pocket, fleet advisory, business advisory. This is what we do, okay? And this is how we serve you. And if you have not yet become a part of the Truck Profit Academy, which is a broader stem of what we get to do in terms of serving you and the people that we work with, you want to join the Truck Profit Academy and be a part of this community. And when you join, you also want to engage, present questions, interact with each other, share your experiences. Sometimes you may be going through something in a day, and it can be like, man, I wonder if anybody else is going through the same thing. Guess what? There's a community of people. You make up your own community of people to share knowledge and experience and say, hey, look, I'm not on my own out here. I ain't so special. Other people have gone through these situations also, and they've seen themselves to the other side of this. I can see myself to the other side of this too. One of the main benefits of being in a community like this is that iron sharpens iron. But more so than that, we're creating content. I'm in there. You can take advantage of so many things when it comes to gleaning off my experience and my team's experience. And I've been in this, serving the industry for nearly a decade, is what I've been doing. But beyond that, just entrepreneurship in general, it's been multiple decades since I've been an entrepreneur, and specializing in this area of, accounting and finance and the tax strategy and business strategy. So you want to be a part of that group so that you can cut the wasted time and achieve outcomes fast. That's one of the main benefits of being a part of the Truck Profit Academy. You can do it by going to www.truckprofitacademy.com and getting started there. Okay. Now, let me just go down to where we left off. Okay. Now I want to come back here because we started talking about like what it looks like to run your business. Okay. Let's see something. Look at this truck covering up my face. I was looking at that's kind of cool. The truck is covering my face up. Mm. Let's get rid of that. Okay. One of the things we got to talk about over the last in the last time that we were together was how to take off the employee hat, like you're employed and you're like a high level employee of your own company, and start looking at your trucking company from the perspective of a business owner, but more so than that, a CFO. What is the benefit of having a CFO in your company? We do that work for a lot of companies we work with. Like we create that CFO structure for people to make sure that we understand the money flow from one, like where it's coming in from and where it's going to. We can plan for growth in that way, so we can understand how certain activities in the business are delivering more results than others based on what the numbers are saying. All right, so you don't have to guess at what's working. You can have clear understanding, certainty about what's been working, and direct all of your attention, at least the majority of your attention, to the things that work, and stop diverting your attention to the things that you know do not work. And that really comes to clarity inside of the numbers, the numbers that we have. So, for example, we have people like the end of the year happened, right? So 2024 is done. No more we can do about 2024 for the most part. But what we can do is take the information from 2024 and prior years and say, well, this is what has worked for your company. You may want to stay here inside of the areas that work, and then get rid of all these other areas that don't work, and then take advantage of these opportunities that you have not yet taken advantage of. There's somebody reached out to us, and we're getting on the call to go over how it is that they get to like spend their money. I mean, they had a really great year, right? They're making money from the services that they're providing, trucking company, okay? And they're doing so well that they just have all this extra money. When you like to have that situation going on, they have all this extra money, and you're like, well, man, well, how do I get to keep it and how do I get to grow it in a way that works? So we get on the call, and the things that we're going to go over in that call are number one, well, we have these other companies that we've created to shift income to these other entities. So we're going to talk about how to do that effectively, how to shift that income to these other entities so that they're taking full advantage of deductions and credits. We're going to talk about that more so today for a little bit because we're getting into tax planning in this conversation tonight. But inside of this conversation that we get to have with this company is, how are we going to shift that income over to these other companies that we created strategically, right, to reduce the exposure to taxes and also make sure that we're keeping money throughout the different entities, okay, strategically, okay, and having the tax strategy as a part of that, and asset protection as a part of that as well. So once we come up with that game plan, with how to move money from the main company to the other companies, we also get to go to work on, well, how are we going to spend money in this one entity as well? How are we going to deliver? So like reserves, how much reserves do we keep based on performance and getting based on growth projections and all that other cool stuff, and what type of equipment can we invest in to grow it in this particular company, right? And how are we going to reduce risk when we're investing in this? So we get to talk about some really fantastic, cool things. And my question to you is, are you having that conversation at all inside of your business when it comes to strategy? When it comes to being efficient in operations and also efficient when it comes to tax savings and also being efficient when it comes to asset protection. Okay. One of the things that we get to do with this particular company, we created those other ones, the other entities for them. So now instead of having all the assets in the trucking company, the assets get shifted to the equipment company, and the trucking company just leases from the equipment company. It's a pretty common strategy, but I don't even know if you guys are really taking advantage of that fully. We have a few companies that we work with that are actually looking to take advantage of that to 100% instead of just having no no structures to deliver on, effective asset protection, and also making sure income gets shifted from one entity to the next. Okay, and there's also property. Like, man, guys, you guys are missing out on some things if you're not really planning in this way for your company. And what I want you to be left with in this conversation is how you can plan to go beyond seven figures. Like, if you lay this foundation correctly, how you can plan to go beyond seven figures in your trucking company and create legacy in the process. All right. So if that sounds exciting to you, man, yeah, throw me something in the chat. Let me know how exciting that is for you to participate in. All right. And then we'll get access from there. So when we're going through this whole process, guys, the thing that we want to talk about first and foremost, which is one of the largest expenses that you're going to deal with in your business, is taxes. So you want to understand, your tax planning, and I like to say tax strategy. It's different, like tax planning is different than tax strategy. So tax planning deals with, am I actually going to have enough set aside for taxes? What type of taxes can I expect to pay, like, and anticipate? Am I doing my quarterly estimated payments on time? Am I staying compliant with taxes? This is tax planning is an aspect where you keep yourself out of trouble. Tax strategy deals with coming up with a game plan to make sure you're not overspending in taxes and that you can spend as little as zero in taxes legally. All right. So I like to break those up into two different concepts because they are distinct to me. Okay. So tax planning is okay. Well, how are we going about delivering on that execution of a tax strategy? Okay. Strategy is more so the high level thinking around making sure you're able to save money in taxes. And the planning is how we could start beginning to see the execution of that strategy. Okay. That's how I perceive it. You might not hear other people say it that way, but this is like my whole, dichotomy of it, distinction wise. Okay. Now, when you have this understood, then you see that, like, the two different levels of thinking through this and two levels of application when you comes to your business. You really want to have some focused time in developing a strategy. Now, if you're not really good at that, then you want to get with somebody who's good at developing a tax strategy so that you are clear about what you can do potentially to not pay as much in taxes legally. And then the planning aspect of it, well, what are you actually going to do day to day, on a day by day throughout the year to execute on this strategy and also stay compliant? Okay. And when it comes to paying your taxes, if you do have taxes owed, and come up with a game plan to make sure you're on time with all those things and that you're accounting for all those things tax wise. That's the planning aspect of it. Okay. All right. Hopefully that makes sense. But let's get into it, guys. Let's talk about understanding tax requirements. Understanding tax requirements in trucking. Man, I don't want to see your eyes glaze. I see your eyes glazing over. We talk about taxes. Hold up, man. Some of you guys, you don't want to. You guys glaze over when it comes to tax talk and everything. And me, it's like quite the opposite. I'll be going in, man. I'll go into like some tax stuff and just figure out, okay, man, this is kind of cool right here. This is some cool strategies. I didn't know you could have this type of credit over here. And if we just pivoted in this type of action, we're already set up here to do this thing. But if we just tweaked it a little bit, and then you can have all these other deductions available where we didn't have all these deductions available. And you can see it already, like my eyes start lighting up. It's like sparkle when it comes to taxes. And other people that get like, oh man, really tax talk, tax talk. Man, we are a specific breed here, brother. Some people understand that because they really like to go in on the tax stuff. But what I really want you to get here is that you want to understand at least this to some level for yourself, right? You want to understand this to some level for yourself because if you don't have the basic understanding, you can't have high level conversations with the people that work with you in this area, and everything gets left up to them. And if it gets left up to them, you don't have complete ownership of your situation for your business and for your life, and you'll miss out on opportunities. Is what I want to say, and that opportunity cost is significant. For example, man, I was with this young guy today. He's younger, And the dude is talking about all these like complex strategies he wants to do, but he's just getting started in life, with real estate and everything else. And it was cool to see that he was doing his homework and researching, and he had this excitement about it, just like I have an excitement around this area too. And it's really cool to work with somebody like that because they've been doing their homework. They understand a good amount. They have a basic understanding. They have like really, they've done like a lot of, he's done like a lot of background work. So he has some type of understanding about what he wants to do when it comes to asset protection, when it came to tax optimization, and then when he gets on a conversation with me, I'm like, okay, good. I see you that you see this over here. And at the stage that you're in, you may want to keep it simple and create your structure this way instead of doing all this other stuff that will cause you a lot more headaches because you've made it more complicated than necessary. Okay. And those are the conversations that really, really have you win. So when I say that you really want to understand this to at least some fundamental level, this is what I mean. You can save a lot of time. You can create a whole lot a higher level of efficiency and effectiveness inside of your business and your life just by getting at least a twinkle in one eye about taxes. Okay, is to just have the some type of excitement and a little bit to a little degree in terms of understanding the whole idea behind tax strategy, because this is where it's at. This is going to be like taxes are one of your number one expenses in life. But what would it look like to turn that into a wealth creation or wealth generating tool? You can do that, by the way. You can turn it into a wealth generating tool because now if you understand the game, you understand credits. For example, like trucking companies, you're investing in equipment, but some trucking companies are dealing in the energy market. And because you're in the energy market, you get some type of, you get depletion, you get you get accelerated deductions on your operating, like with equipment and everything. You get more credits available to work in the energy market. There's so many things available in terms of the energy market if you're in trucking, but you're dealing in the energy market. Now you can take advantage of other things like R&D credits. Like, what are you doing this day and age to improve the way you do business? If you're investing in new technology, especially with AI around now, if you're investing in that, you get more, you get the deduction, yes, but you also get the credits for in this country, in the U.S. and several other countries, you get the credits or the R&D tax credit. Fantastic. Okay. But do you know this? Are you taking advantage of it? Are you even in the area of asking the questions around this so you can take advantage of it fully and turn this into a wealth creation game for yourself? Man, what I'm talking about, guys, is opening up the possibilities for yourself, removing limiters for yourself so that you can achieve freedom, wealth, and legacy. You can go ahead and yes, there are ways that you can compound your efforts to go ahead and scale beyond seven figures in your trucking company, right? By doing it this way. So we want to understand the benefits of tax in trucking in your business. Okay. So what are tax requirements? Okay, federal and state and local tax requirements. Okay, we want to understand that for income. Also, use taxes, excise taxes. Like this is more so the tax planning aspect of what we talked about. And are you ahead of the game? Like, for example, 1099s are due in 4 days. Like this is a deadline for 1099s. I've seen it where, companies, they have simple errors in accounting going on throughout the year that cause them to be at risk when it comes to filing 1099s. So an example of that is, well, yeah, of course, a lot of you will have your drivers listed as 1099 drivers. It's not technically accurate for each and every driver. In a lot of cases, they want to be W-2, but even if you had them as 1099 workers on your force, the accounting throughout the year that you do wants to be so spot on that your amounts are matching up exactly what you're paying them throughout the year. So sometimes, like what'll happen is you'll do like advances, and those advances get classified as something else, or there's another payment through Cash App if you're that type of person, that type of business owner that likes to pay people like Cash App, and those payments get classified as something else to the same person, and all of a sudden there's a discrepancy with what they're getting paid on a 1099 versus what is showing up on their 1099 because it's just misclassification on the books. Now you're out of compliance. There's a risk there. Okay. The other thing is just making sure that we have all contact details for the people that we're paying. I got one, we're working with one of our clients, man, we're getting them straight. And the thing that we're doing with him is making sure that he has um, like the people that he's paying, he'll show up and write checks to the people with their name, and that's fantastic. He's doing that, writing checks out, which is great. That's a clear indication that they're getting paid, for the contract labor or the driver, like the direct driver costs for 1099, whatever it is for his company. And then he'll pay the same people via Cash App or Zelle or Venmo, and then their name on Cash App is like something like off the wall. Like first he's paying like uh or Orlando Castillo. He's gonna pay this guy Orlando. He's gonna pay him like with a check, and you see the checks are clear. So Orlando's paying to Orlando. But then when we'll see payments to a Cash App for owe money. Owe money, this is a Cash App name. And so these are like two separate beings. We don't know that they're connected because the names are not, associated. So we got a 1099 to Orlando, but then we got a 1099 to owe money. But these people are one and the same. You can see how they can present compliance issues and things that are not really lined up. And so we want to make sure that we have a system in place to track people so that we stay compliant when it comes to things like that. All right, you can get yourself in a lot of trouble. You can have like late filing penalties. Things are not lining up. We got to redo 1099s. Takes extra time and effort, to get, and they can't file their taxes because they don't have what they need. So it can cause a whole lot of headaches just in this one area. So you want to have those systems in place, and you want to get with your professional like consistently. Like for me, like when I'm talking about working with this one client, man, we're on this guy, to make sure he's getting us everything, and we're sending the messages. We're actually sending him the data, asking the right questions to make sure he's going to be good to go and he's compliant. He has peace of mind in this area, just so he knows it's taken care of and he doesn't have to deal with all those compliance penalties. Okay. And then, of course, he has a structure moving forward where it's just systematic after we get the resolve, after we have it all resolved. Okay. And that's how you want to be, guys. You want to actually move these. You want to make sure you're above reproach when it comes to compliance so you're not dealing with those headaches. So this is what it means to understand tax requirements. Really, by understanding tax requirements, you can eliminate a lot of the headaches and you can deliver a higher level of efficiency, reduce the waste of time, all right, and be clear that you're maximizing your profile tax-wise, and that you're on a track to achieve freedom, wealth, and legacy, okay, with peace of mind, greater peace of mind. That's the idea behind understanding your tax requirements in trucking. So the next thing that I want to talk about here is once we understand the tax requirements, we also want to move into understanding strategic tax reduction, legally reducing your tax exposure. It is your right as a citizen of this country, as a person in this country, to minimize your exposure to taxes. You get to do that. In fact, the tax laws are designed for you to do that. You're not really doing your duty as a citizen if you're not in the conversation of reducing your taxes. Why would I say that? Well, tax laws are designed to incentivize certain behaviors. So the more you align yourself with those certain behaviors, the more you benefit from the tax code. So why would that be the case? Well, the government says we want to make sure that we're moving our country forward in, housing, making sure we have enough housing for people, that we're developing, sustainable energy in the country, making sure that we're investing in, greater technologies for our company, education, making sure people are elevating in education now. And we also want to make sure that people have jobs, right? And that's just a few of the things that we're looking at when it comes to tax incentives for our country. And this is why the code is written in a certain way, is to make sure that you're lining up, at least they give us an opportunity to line up and behave in the way that they want us to behave. It costs them less money to give the tax incentive than it does for the government to actually have these jobs and produce these things for themselves. Okay, they're actually saving. It's like they're paying pennies on the dollar for it versus what they would pay to create those programs themselves. So they want to incentivize you as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, to take advantage of these of the tax incentives, so that you behave in that way. You create the jobs, you create the housing, you create the energy, you create the new technology and innovations and everything else. Okay. So that's why the tax code is pretty cool, because it incentivizes those behavior patterns, so that now you can own your business and do it in a way where you don't have to pay taxes, because you're aligning your behaviors with all the incentives, and you can continue to grow wealth even faster. Okay, so you want to understand that for yourself and have these tax reduction strategies in place. Okay, so effective tax strategies include utilizing deductions for expenses such as vehicle maintenance, fuel costs, and employee wages. All right, so you get those deductions, but also you want to implement tax credits and accounting methods within the IRS guidelines to significantly reduce taxable income. Not just reduce taxable income, but create credits, which the difference is, okay, when you reduce your taxable income, well, it indirectly impacts your taxes. So, for example, if you're at a 30% tax bracket, the more for every dollar that you reduce in income, well, that's 30 cents less you pay in taxes if you're in a 30% tax bracket. So if you reduced your taxable income by $1,000, well, you have just now reduced your taxes by $300 if you're at a 30% tax bracket. So that's an indirect impact on your tax liability, is tax deductions, whereas tax credits are a direct impact to the amount of taxes that you have to pay. $1 of tax credit equals $1 less of taxes you get to pay. And some of those tax credits are what we call refundable credits, which means that you can put money you can even put money in your pocket. Most of them are not refundable, but the ones that are super fantastic. And some of them you can even carry forward to other years and use them later. Okay, those credits. Now, if you understand that for your business, if you understand it for trucking company, well, now we're actually cooking with Crisco here, man. You're increasing the amount of you're increasing your ability to create wealth in a shorter period of time, because now you're actually taking into account that the government is paying for a lot of the things that you would pay for, that they pay a certain percentage of those things, and you could take those savings and put it into your retirement. You can put them into your foundation and then get another deduction for that. And you can also do so many other things with this, guys, like in terms of increasing your wealth creation capacity, because you're taking the money that you would have paid for taxes and putting that into other vehicles. Even reinvesting that money into your company is a benefit to you when you don't have to pay that money in taxes. Okay. Powerful concept. And more so than a concept, it wants to be a part of how you operate, is what I want to say. Okay. And now the last part of this I want to talk about really quickly, and then we're going to save the rest, the last part of this for the next talk that we come to, the next time we get together. The last part I want to talk about is working with tax professionals. All right. So, of course, we're tax professionals where we are. And, this time of year is busy, guys, for me, because people are getting ready to file taxes. We have people submitting documents for filing taxes. We have, like I said, 1099s. The deadline's coming up in 4 days, and people have not yet filed those. We still get to file those, and there's a rush for it. So, it really does help to have the professionals to work with to alleviate that burden and to keep you on track. Okay. Right here, it says collaboration with accounting and consulting firms and tax advisors specializing in the trucking industry, specifically specializing in what you do, is vital. They can provide tailored advice on compliance, strategy formulation, and auditing processes to enhance financial efficiency. So to make it plain, you want to have somebody to have your back in this area to make sure that you have less stress around this and you have greater confidence and peace of mind that things are going the way that you need them to go. All right. And it really helps to have somebody in your corner who specializes in what you do, who's really familiar with the processes of what you do, to ensure that tax-wise, you're compliant, you have tax planning in place, and also a great strategy in place to implement some of the things that will allow you to create wealth faster, because you don't have to spend as much in taxes. Okay. With that being said, guys, we're going to move on. We're going to close this conversation up. What I want you to be left with, guys, is the opportunity that it is, really the opportunity that it is to really process life in the way that we talked about in this conversation. When it comes to putting on your CFO hat, this is a continuation of that conversation. What things are you looking at when it comes to putting on your CFO hat? We're talking about a few of these things over the next couple of weeks. The last session we got on, we talked about financial planning and everything like that when it came to put on your CFO hat. Today's conversation is about tax strategy for the most part and how to deploy that in your business. And also later on, we're going to talk about how to invest, all right, for yourself and for your company. And guys, I want you to be here with that. I want you to process life this way. I want you to be really good at this, to have a high level conversation with your professionals. It really does help for you to have this foundation. So when you come into a conversation with somebody like me, we don't lose any time. We just moving fast. We're running pretty fast. We're fast paced running together to win this race. And what I want you to get is that you can win and win big in this race. And you can scale your company beyond 7 figures. All right. And have that freedom, wealth, and legacy. Guys, it's been great being with you this week. Always a pleasure to be in this conversation with you. You are my people that are chiming in and listening for this conversation. But what are you going to do with this information? How are you going to implement this? Are you going to win? Are you going to choose to win and win big here? I hope you do. Guys, see you next week. Have a great week until then. Take care now.